Hello, fellow traders. 'Tis I, TheRumpledOne, coming to you on Monday, February the 6th. The year's 2023. Let's talk trading. It's time for the weekly open and gap. As always, these videos are for educational purposes only. Your results may differ from mine. Yeah, I know usually I do the weekly open and gap on Sunday, but I was busy doing some other things, so I figured I'd come to you on Monday morning. So let's go ahead and take a look. And you see we've got some gaps that have not filled. The pound gap down, but it filled. And right now the pound is in the launch pad at 2042. We just opened the hour about 15 minutes ago. And you can see we are below the weekly pivot. But notice there are some gaps that have not filled this week. Taking a look here at the daily chart, you can see we are in the opening range for the year once again. Opening range for the year is the first trading day of the year, high and low. So you can see we're within there, and we're putting in the opening range for the week. And looking at the monthly chart for the year, we are below the yearly open by 50 pips at the moment. We are inside the inside bar from 6 weeks ago, 37 pips above that inside bar low, 87 off of that inside bar high. But as you can see here, we only have a few inside bars on the daily. We've got a few inside bar action on the week, and we got some inside bar action on the month. So those of you who like to do the inside bar trades, you can find action today. The range so far is only 56 pips. We only have 5 pairs over 100, one of them being the dollar yen. If I remember correctly, this was down to 128 not too long ago, so you can see it's been climbing back up. And the buy zone, we crisscrossed the weekly open, daily open a couple times today. It looks like we're coming back down into the buy zone. We're still in that launch pad area. And usually if it opens below the launch pad, or which would be in this case 2040, look to go long in the launch pad when price is moving up through it. And range is barely large enough for rats, and we're in the rat zone, or heading into the rat zone right here. So green rats, get ready for a long signal. The pivot trading plan shows that if we're near the pivot, that we should be short, and we have not been near the pivot. But near S1, the bias is long, and we haven't quite got down to S1 yet. And Bambino flex indicators indicating a short. Monthly pivot we've taken out. Weekly pivot we have not taken out at 2172, and the daily pivot we have not taken out at 2121. There wasn't much of a lower wick zone, so it's basically a line that we're just crossing right here. And the range, once again, we're just putting in range. You can see here only 56 pips at the moment for the week. And we haven't broken out of the high, but we have broken out of the previous week's low by 29 pips. And you can see prices moving up, back up to 43, 44 from that launch, in the launch pad. You can see here we broke the previous day's low at 2049. And if we move down to the 1 minute chart here with the sweet spots gold, you can see here that cross over the 40, came back, crossed the second time, and now price is moving up. You can see we put in a M1 lower high here at 41, almost 42. And price is moving up, and once again, for some strange reason, there's just something about that 40 area that price just likes to move up. And you can see how it basically stalled right below 50. So that could have been a nice little profit there. And you can see here in the M5, we didn't get near the lower high. We're looking at 34 bars because that's the setting of the 3 ball on M1. So right there, that was a nice move. And one thing I've been noticing using the semaphore indicator, on the bottom, if it closes with a bullish candle, it's usually a signal to go long, with the one exception being if you're trading a news trade like NFP or FOMC. I always like to call this bar the sucker bar, because you get in this trade here, usually it'll come back down. But just during a normal course of business, this would have been a valid signal. Does it work every time? Of course not, and that's why we have our stop losses. But you can see now we're putting in a 2 ball, and price is just moving right on back up. And it's one of those things where, you can say in hindsight, call this hindsight, but, these trades happen, day in and day out. They don't work every time. That's why we use a stop loss. They don't always end in a profit. But if you manage your money well, you can see here you could have picked up a bunch of pips. And once again, that 40 to 60 move is happening. It's almost like clockwork. The setup being price has to, whichever 40 price opens under, that's the launch pad. So if it comes down to 119.40, that's not really a launch pad because price opened above it for the day. But price could still launch there. I would look for it, but I wouldn't look for the big move. I would look for maybe more of a ranging motion or ranging price at the below one, then a rocket. That's what we call a launch pad. So yeah, 40 to 60, that would have been 20 pip trade. That's like enough. You have enough size. I mean, at 3 lots times, that's $30 a lot times 20. That's not a bad trade. And for the month, we've increased the range slightly, so we're above February of last year, 2022. We're at 380 so far. Might put in more range. Trade reminder. At the daily level, it says fade the pivot. That's a buy. Prices between the wick zones right now. So it's above the close and below the open, so it's basically in the candle body. Let's see, so far this week we've got a lower high, lower low. And for the month, you can see we're inside that lower wick zone. And then once again on the weekly, prices between the wick zone. Not by much, but because of that move, it got in, it left the lower wick zone, which the close was 49 and we're at 59. So taking the exit out of the wick zone would have been profitable. And if we come back, take a look at the buy zone, and for some strange reason I keep hitting the euro. You had a signal here a while ago, price dipped in here, and this is M15, but once again, if we shift down to the M, you can see pretty much that same setup with the lower high. So you're coming out of the rat zone, crossing that lower high, so could have either gotten in here at 41 or at the 42. Well, I guess even there it was still in the 41 point, because there's 41.9. That's the smart rat. And then it came all the way, it hit 60 and broke it. So that would have been a really nice trade to put on. And one thing about it, depending on which method you use, you could just see how it would have been profitable. But if you have all of those methods in your bag of tricks, your bag of trading tricks, or even if it's not part of your trading plan, you could still say, oh, well, it's in the rat zone. I'm not trading the rat zone per se, but I know statistically that helps. So that might be something that you take the trade anyway, but you might just have a little more confidence with taking that trade because of the confluence of different methods. And if I'm not mistaken, let's take a look at one thing here. Okay, here was the holo trade for the day, was way down here in the rat zone. So once again, you were above the lowest open, and price hadn't even threatened it, so it turned around. And if you're wondering why I set this to M15, well, there's two reasons. First reason is when I'm making the videos, I can usually show the rat zone for the entire day, and you can see what price did at the time. And the other reason is just to show you don't always have to trade off a 1 minute or 5 minute chart. Sometimes you get a nice clean signal trading with the higher time frame, like M15 or M30 candle color. Because if you're having trouble, with your entries, a lot of times it could just be simply over trading. If you move up a time frame or two, you're not going to get as many signals as with the M1 chart. So, fellow traders, I hope you had a fun, safe weekend. And I hope you're profitable this week. So, remember, it's trading isn't just each trade, it's the accumulation of trades. And when you look at the, at the end of the week, are you profitable? Are you ahead of the game? Because that's what really matters, not any one particular trade, even though we put our stop losses because we don't want to wipe out on one particular trade. So just always remember, never forget, it's not what you trade, it's how you trade it. So go out there and drain the banks. This is the Rumpled One, over and out.